So today we have an amazing woman. This woman went from Lincoln University 1854, graduated 2012 with a degree in public relations. And she took that. She worked for Def Jam. She's worked for the NAACP. She has worked for NBC. She's worked for CBS and so many more, to the fact she has her own company, Regan Farley Agency. And she's an author. So I want you guys to welcome Regan into the chat.
That's introduction.
What's good? Listen, I tried. That's all.
I was like, okay, wait, got me nervous for a second.
It got you nervous. This is serious business going on. How you feeling?
I'm good. How are you?
All is blessed. Can't complain. Out here in this good little LA sun.
I know. Listen, I'm jealous because I'm like, hold on, this background, and I'm in the darkness in Baltimore.
Are you good? You good? I want a chicken box, so I wish we could switch places.
Hey, okay, like I need all of that.
So we better switch places. But yeah, I just wanted to, chat with you today and chat with the people in the chat about just public relations, the world of it. Before we get started, I guess give everybody a little premise of how you got started in the industry.
Yeah, so I'm Regan, as Kofi mentioned. I got started in the industry, man. I kind of been doing this since 2012. My love for PR started at Lincoln, but I guess it's different grinding in college as opposed to grinding in the real world, right? So I interned for Kevin Frazier at CBS Television, so I lived in LA for a little bit. Got a chance to move and shake there, work in PR, all of that good stuff. And that was very important to me, like the groundwork, like the resilience piece of things. So after college, I think I learned the textbook knowledge. During college, I learned the textbook knowledge. After college, it was putting all of those plans in motion to be relentless, to be resilient, and just get out there and grind.
How do you feel like putting those two together really helped you out? Like, do you feel you can just get out there and grind without the education?
I think that you definitely need the textbook knowledge, right? Because college put me in the rooms with people like you. So people who would be the future leaders, people who I can depend on in the industry. And I think it was very important, in that space and in that time to do that. Do you have to go to college in order to be a publicist? I don't think so, but I do think publicity is an art. And you learn the trade of that in college. I do believe that you learn how to navigate. I do believe that you learn the power of networking in college. Can you learn those things on the outside? Sure. There are a ton of publicists I know that didn't go to college for PR. And actually, my degree isn't even in PR. My degree is in journalism. But I do think fundamentally, those things that you learn in college are super important. So I wouldn't trade my experience for the world. And I definitely wouldn't trade my HBCU for the world. That's
come on.
Period. Yeah. Come on.
Never trade that HBCU experience, that 1854 experience.
You know this.
I mean, how did your HBCU experience help you get on that track?
Yeah, it propelled me. So on campus, I was student government. So I got a chance to serve as the vice president of external affairs. So anything outward facing, public relations. So I was on public relations since college, technically. Oh, you got some wine? Let me grab some wine.
It's water.
I'm about to say, let me grab some wine. But I got my start in college where I was able to learn contract negotiation, learn how to put, artists on stage, learn not only the student side, but then also the external side of things. Right. So like the promoting it, will this do well? Will this work? How should we line up artists here? And putting out all of the communications on behalf of the student body. And from there, I'm like, I think I want to do this in real life. And I think that I just kind of want to stay consistent in this because this is what I like. I knew I never wanted to be on camera talent like you. I knew I never wanted to do that.
Why not?
I don't know. I feel like that takes a special skill set. And it's not for everybody. So I was never, and sorry if my niece is like loud, but I knew that wasn't for me. I knew I always wanted to be behind the scenes and pulling strings in that way.
Okay. And you said like 20 different professions in the one thing that you do.
I like to believe that I do 50 million things, right? And my best friend, Ariana, she's on, I think she just was saying something, but so there is I would say a babysitting component to this. So if any of my clients are watching, don't even try it. Y'all know I be babysitting y'all sometimes. But I think there is a component of someone trusting you to do everything, right? Sometimes I play manager. Sometimes I play social media person. Sometimes I wear a few different hats because I think in this industry, you got to be a jack of all trades. But you also have to master things. So I can't say jack of all trades and master of none because I need to know how to do everything because that's what makes me more marketable as a public relations professional. And when we talk PR, we're talking visibility.
Come on.
Ariana said babysitter. We're talking visibility for your brand, for you as a person. Yes, babysitter for real. For your brand, for your company, for your business. Marketing, though, where it differs, marketing sells tickets. So I'm not in a business of selling tickets if you have an event or something of that nature. I'm more so making sure that eyes are seen for your event. That different people are seeing what you're doing, that people are seeing how you move and shape. That's what I'm more so interested in doing. Publicists who understand journalism. Yes, Juliana.
That's real. That's real.
That's real. Yeah. Like, I got to understand both sides, because if I'm talking to Kofi and I'm pitching Kofi something on my client, I got to know what he likes. I got to know what he's into. I got to know, like, what he's reading, what stories he'll cover, what is interesting him. So I got to think with both sides of my brain, in a sense.
Okay. Now, you said you're not doing marketing. What kinds of public relations assistance are you providing under your brand?
Yeah, so marketing, right? So people always think that marketing and PR are the same thing. They are very synonymous, and one hand washes the other, but marketing is saying, try this product. PR is saying that this story is important because of XYZ. So should you have both? Sure. Should the same person do both? Can you... We freezing again?
Yeah, it froze again. I don't know why it's doing this.
Okay, we good now?
We good now.
I don't know. Look, my Wi-Fi good.
Mine is too. I don't know what's going on.
I know, that's crazy. But marketing is saying try this product. PR is saying that this is important. And where we differ is I am trying to get what they call earned media. And earned media in a sense of, because I reach out to a BT.com or Hot 97, so on and so forth, that doesn't mean that they have to cover my client. Whereas from a marketing perspective, because you paid for that marketing advertisement, that is more so a guarantee. PR, there are no guarantees in PR.
There's no guarantees. And I like how you...
Does that make sense?
Nah, it makes perfect sense. And I like how you said, like, earned media. People don't understand, like, there's paid media, there's earned media. Earned media is you throw it out there, you try to get people to bite on it. Now, an easier way to get people to bite on it is by having relationships. Now, I'm sure you've created a lot of relationships with different different outlets. How do you go about starting these relationships?
So one, I think reciprocity is important. So I'm gonna do some shout outs because I'm looking on the live. So
we got
I have
Lane.
Juliana, she's with the we got Lane. Shout out to Lincoln in the building. I think I saw my good sis Tiny in the building. But I'm gonna shout out Juliana as well. So Juliana on the beat. Juliana is actually my former boss at NAACP, which is hilarious. But even long before then, Juliana runs her own website called the Hollywood Post, and she's probably gonna kill me for shouting her out. But when I say, like, reciprocity is important, you don't always have to check in on someone because you want a story covered. You more so want to build a rapport with someone, so that way when you do need something, they can say, oh, well, Reagan, she always checks in on me personally. She calls to see how I'm doing and all of those good things. And, I want to help her in some way, and I want to make sure that her client is covered. So you want to build those relationships. Like I mentioned to you, I interned for Kevin Frazier in 2011, 2012. So that was my senior year in college. I haven't seen Kevin since then. But the one thing that I always do is, when I used to live in LA, I would reach out to him. I would shoot him an email. Hey, how are you? Hope all is well. And as of recently, a few months ago, I seen him, and he was like, I'm so proud of you because you are doing your thing. And if you ever need anything, you let me know. Now, granted, I have never asked him for anything, but the fact that I reach out to check in, that is very important.
Amen. And you got those genuine relationships. I'm sure you have several relationships you've built over the past few years. How do you juggle, like, oh, I need to text so-and-so, I need to touching with so-and-so? Like, how do you make sure you keep that in tune?
Yeah, like I think, well, one, now I'm moving in a space where I got an assistant now too, right? So, like, if there's some times where I need to say, yes, sis, make sure that I remember to reach out to XYZ. Or sometimes I'll just do automated messages. Like, you don't have to know that it's automated, but I'm sending stuff out frequently, so that way, you always feel like that personal touch. And it could be the same. I'm gonna give you a secret. It could be the same message. Sometimes copy and paste, and the name just changed out. Like, but it does have to be personal and not generic. Hey, such and such, how are you? I hope you're doing well. Here's what I'm working on right now. Please let me know if I can be assistance to you. Okay. Because the problem is sometimes we will look for things in people and ask them, oh, can you do for me? Can you do for me? But we don't know how to add value to other people. And I think that's super important. You also want to add value to the people that you're reaching out to as well.
You definitely want to add value. And I feel like that's the number one key to internship. I mean, relationships, and number one key to just like creating relationships is just adding. You want to make sure you're adding value to these people. When you're choosing clients, you want to make sure that these clients are adding value to your agency. So how do you go about vetting?
Because listen, I fire clients too. So there's that.
You fire clients?
Yeah. Because one, I fire clients as well. Yes, just as well as you want to figure out if I'm a good fit for you, I have to figure out if you're a good fit for me. So at the end of the day, this is technically a relationship. And I think relationships are a two-way street. So I can't sell a story that I'm not passionate about. When I started off in the industry, I started off heavily in music. Since I've gotten older, though, I think that passion has changed. So I really don't represent a ton of music artists anymore. One, because I think that music PR is very, it's such a slippery slope. Like everyone thinks that they have a hot song, and that's no shade to anyone who is a music artist. Correct. But it is going to take more than just PR to catapult a rap artist, or more than just PR to help catapult an R&B artist. So when working with me, I think one, not only budget has to fit, right? Because thank you doesn't pay bills. So one, what's your budget? I think another piece of that is, what's your story? Is your story newsworthy? Kofi, don't laugh at me because I'm so serious about that. Is your story newsworthy?
Oh, no.
And what does newsworthy mean? How is it exciting? Who is it impacting?
Come on, journalism degree. Come on, journalism degree.
Important. Like, is it newsworthy? Because I think we live in a world where, because I'm doing something, I feel like it needs to be showcased, highlighted, and visible. And yes, that's true. But how does it impact a larger community? Or who is going to care about, let's take music, for instance, because it's easy for me to kind of draw the parallel. But who is going to care about that song? How can we make someone care about your song or your brand or your product? So like, is it newsworthy? What's the newsworthy component behind it? So you gotta have news. You gotta have something newsworthy if you're looking to work with me.
This don't keep freezing. Yeah.
Still freezing? Perfect.
Yeah, it just froze again.
Should I? Okay. Should I exit out and come back in?
I feel like we good. Like I don't want to mess up this. I feel like we got like a good flow going despite the the mishap. So I don't want to cut it off. I think it's good. Okay, cool. So
working with me. So newsworthy. You have to have a newsworthy story.
Yes.
You also have to have a budget that makes sense, because PR, again, 3-month contracts aren't really ideal. I say 6 months to a year contracts work for me, because in the beginning, I'm still learning about you.
Okay.
So one, newsworthy. Two, a budget that fits, and you got to be able to take direction, because I think that whole Erykah Badu thing, I'm an artist and I'm sensitive about my ish. Yeah. Like, I get you being sensitive, but you also got to be coachable. Yeah.
That's a fact. So you spoke on working with artists with stories. Now, not all artists have good stories. So if you had a story like somebody had like a R. Kelly situation going on or something around that, what is the limit to you taking on an artist that...
I wouldn't work with R. Kelly.
Okay.
But let's also unpack that, right? So the job of a publicist is not to determine if he is guilty.
Right. That's
so let me take my personal out of it. Because I'm saying it from a personal level. Yeah. But my job is not to define if he is guilty or not. Should I work with someone like that? My job is to sell his clean, squeaky image.
Exactly.
It's not necessarily because again, I'm not a lawyer. And I'm not playing judge and jury. I'm playing clean, squeaky image and visibility. Mm-hmm. So technically, would I want to represent somebody like that because of what he did on a personal level? No. But from a crisis PR situation, I think that he does need representation, and he needs representation that can deflect all of the negative things that are out there.
Okay. How would you, I know this is more personal, how would you go about deflecting like his situation?
one, he's in a very sticky situation.
Very sticky.
Like
yeah.
it's a very, very, very sticky situation. And then I think the second component of that is the positive, in a sense, has to outweigh the negative. And I know right now that is a situation that is awful, but I never would have let him interview with, who did he interview with and he went off on?
That was, oh my gosh, not Oprah, but
Gail, right?
Gail, yeah, Gail.
So he should have never done that interview. One, because he is already a high energy person, right? Like, this is an emotional thing.
Yes.
Either his legal team should have done the interview, or they should have done no interview at all.
Yeah.
Because it's too much of a downhill situation right now.
Definitely.
So there should have been someone who can speak on his behalf, and from there have legal answers for everything that he's facing right now. He shouldn't have done it on his own. I would have never advised him. That was poor judgment on the PR person's part.
Okay.
Or on the crisis management person's part.
The crisis management. And what's the difference between that? Like, those type of publicists?
There are two different strategies. So
right.
When we're talking crisis management, you are more so putting together a strategy so like Jesse Smollett, right?
Yeah.
Remember when all of that craziness happened with him? Crisis management is more so bringing positive attention to a negative situation. Right. Yes, it's PR, but I think the higher level terms come in when it comes from a legal perspective, because you're technically more so working with a lawyer as well to help cultivate that story, to shape that narrative, because things from there are starting to get a bit more technical. You aren't really focused on feature stories. So like feature stories, like one-on-one stories, you're more so getting the positive out there. So it's slightly different.
Okay, so you're just trying to extract the positive out of their very negative situation.
Exactly. As opposed to putting together, hey, look at me on IG type of situation. You're more so nuts and bolts of talking about the positive behind someone getting sued, or like a Jesse Smollett situation or R. Kelly situation.
Right. Okay. And I know you said that, like, publicists are not like lawyers, but in many ways they're like doctors, because people come to them with a brand that may not be the healthiest. And then you guys check up and you guys got to figure out how to make that brand go from being sick to being healthy again. How do you go about diagnosing a brand?
So I strategize. One of those things, so like before, from the beginning inquiry stage, I want to know about you. I want to know about your story. I want to know about your brand. I want to know, what you think it means to work with a publicist, what your expectations are about working with the publicist, because from there, I already know what I'm going to say to you when I hop on the phone. So I want to know, how you got started. I want to know your why, because although you might need help from me to help shape your why, I still need to know what your why looks like from you. And I think one of those things that's truly important when it comes to messaging and shaping your audience strategy is it's more so learning the backstory, learning your backstory, knowing a lot about the person, building reciprocity. Start with the why. Great book. Oh yeah, that's a great book. That is a great book for sure. But I need to know a lot about you. Like, one of my clients, and I always shout her out in interviews, is my client, Crystal from Grand Hustle.
Oh yeah.
So she was the winner. Yeah, she was the winner of BET's The Grand Hustle, which was a competition show with T.I., and she runs the Trap Music Museum now. But Crystal and I, beyond just like client-publicist relationship, which that's super rare, Crystal and I are like the best duo, because every single thing that she does, she's always telling me something if she's making a move. She's all like, I know probably just about every single thing about Crystal, like before it happens. Beautiful. Because we built that rapport. And I think when you're working with a publicist, you shouldn't just go out and do things on your own without consulting your team, because you never know what's going to happen.
Okay. I like that. So how are you moving and like helping people publicize themselves during this pandemic?
So during this pandemic, now's a great time to stay consistent and push your content out. So like, Coach, I love what you're doing. Like, you're continuing to push content out. You're continuing to connect with people, because right now there's so many eyes on you. And I know one of my clients was like, I don't want to go live. And I think right now that is how can I put it? I don't think that that's the greatest idea, because there'll never be another time where so many people will have eyes on you right now. Don't most people have to go through a publicist before the client? And we'll answer that question.
Yeah, we're gonna say the question.
I think right now there has never been more of a time for eyes to be on people who are just your everyday person than this whole coronavirus situation. So if you can find a sweet spot to create content, or, you know, even if you save that content for later, but if you can find a sweet spot, even if you have 10 people watching, 20 people watching, that's still eyes who were not on you before. So how can you create something that continuously sticks? And that's what I'm advising my clients to do. Okay, I won't argue with you. If you don't want to go live, fine. But what are you doing so that way when this whole coronavirus crisis is over, you have content that lasts and content that makes sense in order for you to be successful?
Okay. Sidebar, where do you think we're headed? Like, this isn't really a question, but where do you think we're headed as far as like entertainment goes with red carpets and just, you know, events that we used to love to go to?
What I was saying was, I think that the state of events is definitely going to change like 100%, because I don't know about you, but I don't want to go to any red carpet events right now. Like, I'm good on it. Y'all can keep it. I don't even want any clients hiring me for like external red carpet events. Like, I'll do digital. You want some digital content? Sure, I got you. But in-person events, not right now. Not right now. But I think we're going to have to get creative. And in the state of PR, I think it's unfortunate that it took this long for folks to figure out that we need to do digital PR as well in conjunction to traditional.
Okay. True indeed. How do we do like a digital red carpet event? Once again,
let's see, how can we get creative here? Kofi, you having me think on my feet. Okay, so like, I would love to see. There's this tool called Hop On, and it's like it's like really, really popping. It lets you have individual rooms. So like, maybe we get crafty and creative, and we say, hey, I got King Kofi in this room. Beyonce, you go here.
Okay.
And, you know, like,
I got you.
Like,
I got you.
Got to figure it out.
Straight to the point. Okay. Now you've done events though. You've put on events as a publicist, right? What is your most memorable event?
Most memorable event. I'll go with recently. So, and unfortunately, I think if Ariana is still in here, she might have hopped off. But me and my business partner, Ariana, we were doing something for the United Negro College Fund, in LA, and they were honoring Anthony Anderson. And I'll say memorable because, like, I remember being a student at Lincoln and saying I wanted to work in PR, like, out of everything that I've done. But to be a publicist now, to be in the industry for a little bit now, and to help sell the story of students who look like me, like HBCU students who, you know, are currently walking in my path. So one, the United Negro College Fund event was for funding HBCUs, and it was to honor Anthony Anderson. And that was like a 360 moment, because I remember sitting in some of those seats that they were sitting in. Like, I've done a lot of great things in my career, but I think that was most rewarding because I remember being that student. So I'll say that. I won't even say anything because it was Anthony Anderson or anything like that, but just because I was that student, like, I remember being there.
Nah, it just lets you know how far you came. And, you know, it lets you know how important you continuing your process of growth and continuing to do your work is, because those students are looking at you, and then y'all could just have that little 360 conversation all day and night. Now, how do you define a successful event as a publicist?
I think a successful event has faces in the room, and they don't necessarily have to be celebrity faces. Like, and I know me as a publicist saying that, it's like, what? When I say faces, yes, celebrity, but then also influencers. So like, people who are influencing, and that doesn't have to mean like they have 1 million+ followers, but people who are influential in their space, be it community leaders, be it, you know, business leaders, different professionals of that nature. I think that is a successful component piece. But then also the media coverage piece, the pre-media coverage, the post-media coverage, and anything in between, I think is successful to me. That's what success looks like. Like, I love when the red carpet is filled. I love when people are saying, hey, Regan, we had such a great time at your event. I love when people are tweeting about an event, talking about an event, texting about an event. So that's what success looks like to me.
And an open bar.
Yeah. Oh, and free food. Hello. Like, you cannot have an event without open bar and free food, because I think it's ghetto when you don't do one or the other. You got to do both, for real. But
You do got to do both, because
you
when
got to
people
do
get
both.
drunk, they got to eat. You know what I'm saying?
You got to do both. I think it's so tacky when clients. I'm like, no, like, and I'm not even. And granted, I'm not even planning the event, but I'm like, you gotta get your weight up, sis. Like this, you need to get a sponsor, or you need to like be able to pay somebody to come cater this food and open this bar, because
we're not moving like that.
Yeah.
Can you help someone get a sponsor? Sorry.
I try to stay away from sponsorship. Like, have I done it in the past? Yeah, but I try to stay away from it only because I think when you're talking sponsorship, again, different strategies. So if I am focused on getting the eyes on the event and the visibility, I don't want to know if Jack Daniels is about to come do this open bar, because I just think that that's too much. Like now you're asking for a lot, and I need a different type of bag if you try and ask me to do all that.
You got to diversify the bag, and if you're not trying to go there, you're not trying to go there. But where you were trying to go with the bag was into the books. So you have a book, Hustle Sold Separately.
And
tell
I don't
us
even
about
have it. Where is it? All right, I'm bad on promo right now. But we're
gonna go ahead now. Tell us why the name Hustle Sold Separately, and what made you want to create this book.
Yeah, so Can't Knock the Hustle is a journal under my Hustle Sold Separately brand. Like the dream is free, but the hustle sold separately. One, I believe that we don't have communities as entrepreneurs, or even as 9-to-5ers, where people are telling us how to get somewhere from an entry level perspective.
Correct.
But I don't think that there's a community that's telling us how to stay in our field, how to stay the course, how to stay consistent in the midst of setbacks. And that's what I want Hustle Sold Separately to do, because so many people are saying, oh, this is how I got my start. This is how I got my start. But I don't see too many people saying, okay, this is how I stayed here. This is how I stayed consistent. This is how, I was able to build a rapport with my circle, feed and inspire each other. And I think that's what Hustle Sold Separately is, because one of the misnomers is when I make it to the top, like I'm going to never send down for anyone else, or I'm going to never pour into anybody else. But I think we all hustle different, and my success doesn't hurt Kofi. Kofi's success doesn't hurt me. If we can be successful together and build, community, then I think that's what's truly important.
Amen.
So that's what Hustle Sold Separately is.
Got you. And Can't Knock the Hustle. My apologies. I will always keep it G.
You good. And then I'm a big Jay-Z fan, so that's where Can't Knock the Hustle came from, like the name of the book.
Respect. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of Jay-Z, this question, I've been waiting for this one. Now, it's not, okay.
You gotta ask me a lyric?
No. I ain't gonna ask the lyric, but if you want to spit a lyric, go ahead. We can take it off this. Nah, we good. All right. Now, we have legends like Jay-Z, but we have a lot of other people that were in the early 2000s. We have our Lil Jons, we have our T-Pains, we have our Lil Waynes that are making resurgence. Mm-hmm. Now, say you have, for instance, Chingy come and tell you, I want you to be my publicist. How do you revive somebody that had a career today?
Yeah. Keep putting them out there. Like people get attracted to something that they often see. It takes 3 to 4 times for someone to interact with your content or interact with you in order for them to at least want to buy in. So with Chingy, I think it's the buy-in component and it's the relevancy component. So one, like, okay, you know who I love, who I'll use as an example, Plows. Is it Plows or
Plies?
Plies. Okay. So how he was able to reinvent himself because of social media. Right. Because remember, a few years ago, nobody was checking for him.
Not at all.
But now he done got back on social media and he done started acting a fool. And unfortunately, not unfortunately, but fortunately, he's been able to reinvent the wheel. So, yeah.
So just find a way to reinvent the wheel.
I think you gotta do something consistently for like today's time. So like Drake, one of the reasons why Drake will always stay relevant is because he keeps continuously hopping on songs for young boys. Like he's hopping on the young dude songs. So of course that if you listen to NBA Youngboy or whoever else, you're going to know who he is because he's hopping on their content. And of course, the fact that he's hot too, so that I guess that makes it better. But even if he has his break in between, he's gonna hop on a mixtape. He's gonna hop on a Migos song and make it hot and relevant when they weren't relevant. Remember that was a time when Migos wasn't relevant. It's that
Versace,
Drake
Versace,
was
Versace.
familiar. Yeah, exactly. It's that Drake was familiar with their sound, got on a track and then helped them become relevant as well. So it's just about building that consistency piece and everything that you do.
Okay, sounds great. Now I'm pretty much good. I want people to ask questions. I know we had a few questions up top. Do you have anything that you would want to say to the people? Anything you're working on right now that you would want to talk about?
Nothing I'm working on right now. I'm about to drop another ebook though, probably sometime next week, and it's just more so going to be. It's called Pitch Please, so it'll be like things that you can do. Pitch Please.
I like that.
It'll be things that you can do to help with your pitching process. Like even if you don't hire a publicist, these are the few things that I can do in order to still get my brand out there, and this is what I should be doing. So it'll be like a few simple tips, nothing too crazy, nothing too fancy, but just some gems.
I'm not laughing at what you said. I love the concept, but Dion gonna say, is the village open?
Dion, I hate Dion.
I cannot stand it. I cannot stand that. Now, what?
When your friends from college hop on a serious live and like start doing funny stuff
and start doing nonsense. But anyway, thank you, Dion. We appreciate that. Now, Pitch Please. So, what's some good advice you can give people on how to pitch themselves?
Yeah, I think that, and somebody just said, what is
your ultimate goal?
So I'm gonna answer you first. So good advice in order for people to pitch themselves. You need to create engaging content. Yeah. But then also I think that one of the cool things you can do right now, since everyone is at your fingertips, engage with journalists. Start to follow them on social media. Start to see like stories that they're working on. I'm not saying be a publicist, but in a sense, be a publicist, because before you even hire someone for PR, you're your own biggest you're your biggest fan. So sell your story. But come to people correct. Like if their bio says no DMs, don't DM them. Right. Find their email. Do the legwork. Because I think we have so much at our fingertips that we've gotten lazy. State who you are, what you do. Go that extra mile, because I do think that that's what makes a difference when it comes to pitching yourself, and have something interesting. And I think pitching yourself isn't hard. It's the after the fallout that gets people. Okay.
Nah, thank you for that. I'm good. Yeah. We can go to the question from Dre from Beige. Okay. What is your ultimate goal for the future? And he said, sorry if you answered that already.
No, I didn't. Dre, my ultimate goal is to be a PR powerhouse, to be a thought leader. But there's a company called Burrell Communications. And when I think of where I want to go for the Regan Farley agency, one, I don't want to be known as a Black firm, which is great. That's the space that I work in. Right. But I think that communications is universal. And right now, as a young woman of color, we are the go-to people for business. Yes. We are the go-to people for culture. Yes. Our culture is the go-to culture. So I want to help the Cokes and the Pepsis and the HPs and the Macs craft their narrative. Like I want to be in some of those rooms. So back to Burrell. Burrell is one of the largest Black-owned firms, and you can't even tell. You don't know who owns it. Like you don't know that a person of color owns that firm, because they work with they have such a diverse portfolio. Right. I want to be a multifaceted agency, so not just PR, but let's say it's content production. Let's say it's video production, graphic design. Like I want my firm to be Let me change that. My firm will do it all. So that's where I'm looking to go.
Come on, man. You got to change that word from I want to I will.
Yeah, I will. Like we will definitely do it all. Like one of the things I'm looking to add under my belt this year is a production credit. Like I want a production credit. One of my clients is actually pitching a documentary, and hopefully it gets picked up, but I'm gonna have a producer credit on it. So like I want to do more than just one thing, because millionaires have 7 streams of income, and I'm working on like maybe 3, 4 right now. So let's get to the money.
Don't forget you got that stimulus coming in, so 5.
Oh, don't forget about that.
Don't forget about the stimulus.
That small business loan, all of that is real.
Oh yeah, you got everything coming in. Let me hold $1.
I got you.
Now, way earlier, I don't want to forget, a gentleman asked, wouldn't you go to a publicist before you go to the client? That's when we were touching on representation, like a little early. We were touching on, I think, the R. Kelly thing.
Okay. basically were they asking, like, would the media outlets talk to the publicist first before
Yes,
they
don't
talk
they
to like a
have
R. Kelly?
correct?
Yes. Yeah. In a perfect world, yes. But I have seen, even with some of my clients, media will reach, even if they know me. Not it doesn't happen more so if the media outlet knows me, but
Right.
let's say one of my clients will have contact Reagan for PR in their bio.
Yeah.
They will still reach out to my client directly.
Of course.
And it's like, did you not read the bio? Because she's going to send you back to Reagan anyway, or he's going to send you back to Reagan anyway. But people do it. I mean, I don't, you can't stop it, I guess.
That just goes to relationships. So like, I know Crystal would definitely come to you even if somebody reached out to her. So that goes to the PR client relationship at the end of the day. So it's just like, yes, it can't be stopped, because it's just like when somebody goes to somebody's manager, they're trying to get the cheapest. If they want to book Lil Uzi Vert, they try and get Lil Uzi Vert for $10 in a chicken sandwich, whereas the manager is not going to allow that to happen. So, you know, it's the parent. It's back to the parent thing. So it's
back to the babysitter thing. Yep. Yep. Somebody said, what kind of degree do you need for this job? So my degree is in journalism. And I've seen a multitude, and I see a few of my PR friends on here as well. So if their degrees are different, definitely let me know. I see like Leon on here, I see Fiona, and they're in PR as well. So shout out to both of them. But I won't necessarily say a degree is always great. I love my degree from Lincoln University. I will not necessarily say that you need a degree for PR. Your degree puts you in the room, and your degree puts you in certain rooms, but you don't because PR is such an art. I think you really don't need a degree to do it, but should you have one? Sure. Does that make sense? Like, I hope I'm not saying like don't go to college. I hope that's not the vibe that I'm giving off, because that's definitely not the vibe that I want to give off. But I do think like there are PR degrees out there, strategic communications, public relations. It just depends on the program. Fundamentally, you should know the basic skill set. But can you learn it on your own with a world of so much free information? You can, but I do think you'll miss some steps in between. Does that make sense?
No, it makes perfect sense. Okay. It's like, at the end of the day, the entertainment industry is such that you don't have to have a degree in journalism to be a journalist. I have a degree in finance. You don't have to have PR, like a degree in public relations, to be a publicist, whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, you have to know your stuff. If you're not going to go to school and have the organized version of learning it, then you got to go to the school of YouTube University, a school of hard knocks, and learn the stuff yourself.
Because again, it's so much free game out there right now. Actually, I got a class next week, free game. But there's so much free game out here, but you have to still do the legwork. And if you are not doing the legwork, don't think, oh, I didn't go to college, I'm gonna still try to do PR, and I'm also not going to learn anything, because that's not going to be beneficial to you or your client.
Not at all. You said free. When is free game?
May 18th or either May 17th. It's on my bio.
Make sure y'all check the link in her bio. Make sure you guys show up the free game. We got a couple more questions though, but make sure you guys show up the free game. I'll even post it on my story as well as many times as you need me to. We got it.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
No question. So DJ Marcus said, when would DJs need a PR? That's a good question.
Okay, DJ D Nice. DJ D Nice, he definitely needs a publicist. I actually do think. Oh, Fiona said her degree is in psychology. So listen, when do DJs need a publicist? I think a DJ needs, so one, right? And I was talking about this earlier too, I think I was on Facebook or something like that. I think if Apple has a communications team, if Beyonce still has a publicist, as a business, if you're looking to draw a certain set amount of eyes on you, you need a publicist. But it depends on what you're trying to push out. So if you are trying to push out a certain message as a DJ and get to a particular audience, then you should consider hiring a publicist. You should, a lot of big names have one, so when is a good time to look? So his second piece was a lot of big names have publicists, so when is a good time to look? I think a good time to look, and back to that budget piece, is when your budget allows it, because PR could also be a luxury service. And when I say luxury service, so many people think that they need PR, and maybe they're not ready. Maybe they haven't marketed themselves enough. Maybe they haven't, with artists, it's like, do you have fans? Maybe you haven't built up your network enough to have a solid fan base. But I do think talking to a publicist and getting a consult to help with that publicity trajectory is super important. So I do think sometimes that you also, even if you aren't ready, talking to a publicist never hurts.
Okay. How do you know if you're ready? Like, is it about the number of followers you have? Like, how do you know if you're ready?
No, I don't think it's that. Followers, to me, that's all relative, because you can have 2 followers and invoices are still getting cleared. So followers to me, that doesn't mean anything. But I do think momentum is important. So what does your momentum look like? You know, where are you shaking hands? Everything does not have to be celebrity driven, because there's people who don't care about celebrities. There's outlets that don't even cover celebrity content. So don't feel like, oh, I'm not in pictures with celebrities that I don't need a publicist, because that's not necessarily true. I think it's about, again, the story. So if you are a DJ who, and I'll speak for myself. So I'll speak for myself. So I'm a publicist. I have epilepsy. It's something that I've dealt with since 22.
Yes.
That's a story right there.
Yes.
So how can I say I'm a young woman, I'm defying the odds, I'm a Black business owner who deals with epilepsy, you know, who's dealt with epilepsy since 22. That's a story in itself now. Like, because not only am I teaching you how to own a business as a young professional, but also how to be resilient. And I think you just have to figure out your why. Again, back to that why. Sorry, my dog.
You good.
But back to that why, you just need to figure that out. And I think if you can figure that out, then that's when you are ready to hire a publicist.
Exactly. And nobody would have known that until you just said that. So thank you so much for sharing that with us right now. Now, Fiona, if I don't ask one of her questions, I don't know, she might beat me up. She's been asking about 3-4 questions. So we're going to put...
and Fiona is a publicist as well. Oh,
yeah, I see it. She got some great questions right here. So we're going to put hers right up.
What she said?
What's been the biggest lesson you've learned as a publicist?
I think the biggest lesson I learned as a publicist is to bet on myself. That no matter the room that I am in, I am my walking brand. I am my client's walking brand.
Amen.
And it is how I react to certain things that, you know, stories get shaped. So I need to figure out, I need to control how I'm reacting, but then I also need to be able to be consistent for myself and for my clients. Because what you see, even when you introduce me, Kofi, with stuff like that, I still get so humble, because I'm like, I'm not there yet. Like, I'm not anywhere where I need to be. But you know,
Hello. Yo.
Okay. My alarm had went off, my bad. But no, I think that's the biggest lesson, being able to bet on yourself, because there's been some setbacks, but minor setbacks make for a major comeback. So I think that's my biggest lesson as a publicist, not the whole celebrity piece, not the whole writing press releases, but just betting on myself, because 1,000 people can be in a room with you and say, yo, Ray, you're doing great, when they see you working and they see you with celebrities. But for the clients who are not celebrities, I think those are the most rewarding to me. So yeah, betting on myself.
Amen.
That's been my biggest lesson.
Thank you so much. All right, so we're going to move on to the next one. We got a couple more minutes left. How do you ensure you have proper boundaries as a publicist with your clients?
Child, I turned my phone off.
That was a very good one. Yeah. Thank you, Fiona.
Listen, I put my phone on Do Not Disturb. Actually, right now it's on Do Not Disturb. So I put my phone on Do Not Disturb. I have office hours. Remember, I think it was The Temptations or even a 5 Heartbeats, old school movie. And it was a guy on there named Big Red, and he had hung the guy out the window. He was like, my office hours are from 9 to 5. Literally. No, I'm not playing. My office hours really be from 9 to 5. Like, unless it's urgent. But I also believe that nothing is that urgent unless we are in a crisis situation.
Yes.
It will get figured out tomorrow. Unless it's that important. And 9 times out of 10, nothing is ever that important. I'm gonna get shirts made that says your urgency is not my deadline.
And have the big red with the hanging out the window on the shirt.
Yeah, because I think sometimes people just make stuff so urgent, and I get it, but I don't work from a mindset of it gotta get done, because that's just gonna make me crazy. So I'm real even kill. Like, this is who I am all the time. Like, even in client meetings, even in partnership meetings, like, this is Regan. So yeah, that's how I set my boundaries. Like, my office hours are 9 to 5, like Big Red. Your urgency is not my deadline, and it's gonna get done. Like, it'll get done. Like, it's just not gonna get done maybe when you want it. Because even when you think of those bigger firms like your Sunshine Sachs, your Edelmans, your so on and so forth, when I was at the NAACP and we had them as contractors, they had a 24-hour turnaround time. So Reagan, as an agency with, I'd say, 3 employees, is not about to go ham for whatever you got going on. Not like
at
that.
All. Not at all. And at the end of the day, it's like, you may think it needs to be rushed, but it needs tactic. That's what you hired me for. You hired me to be tactful. And I'm going to read it, and I'm going to work through it, and we're going to get you the best we can get from that situation.
Exactly. Like, I got to go back, because you're freaking out, I got to go back and think about it and say, okay, well, what's going to happen if we react this way? How should we respond? When, like, I got to go back and figure those things out. So, yeah, I can't operate like that.
No, and don't. Keep doing what you're doing. In big reverence trust.
Thank you, bro.
No question, sis. I got you. All right, so we got one last question. Well, we may have more. If you guys have more questions, please ask questions.
Yeah, I got some time. And then our live was a little bit ghetto in the beginning, so if I need to stay on for a little bit, we good.
Oh no, I feel like we worked through it. Even though, despite that, that's that media training. You got to know how to work with whatever twists and turns.
Yeah, got you. It's cool.
All right, so Fiona asks, once you decide to take on a client, what happens next? Should clients expect to blow? I like this.
No, because PR isn't overnight. So, like, people who think because I'm hiring a publicist and because I'm paying you a minimum of XYZ, that next week I'm going to be on Hot 97. And good publicity takes time because, one, there's a strategy of me getting to know you, me getting to know how you think, how you react, how you respond, learning a bit more about your campaign. Good PR takes time. Like I was saying earlier, I don't even sign contracts if they are under
3 months.
I try not to do anything under 3 months. I don't even really like 3-month contracts because that's not enough time to help build your brand. That's not enough time. That's even just sometimes me just getting to know you, getting to know how you move, getting to put your story together, making sure it gets fine-tuned, making sure my journalist friends see it. That's just that amount of time. Consistency again, back to that consistency piece. Consistency takes time. Good PR takes time.
That's a fact. It's a fact. So we got a great question. And then she said they think they're going to be on Vogue or on the cover of Essence in 2 days.
Yeah. Hello. And in this corona world right now that we live in, be lucky if Essence picks up the phone at this point. Like, so again, you have to be able to, but I'll also say in the flip that everything isn't corona centered. Like, people are still looking for good, strong content. But I will definitely say that you have to, you got to set boundaries in PR, and you have to, if you hire me tonight, if you do slide in, matter of fact, don't slide in the DMs. There's a link in my bio to book a consult. If you do book a consult in the link in my bio, don't think because I'm talking to Reagan, I'm going to be somewhere next week. I'm going to be on, I don't know, GQ next week, because that's not going to happen. It's going to take some time.
Yeah. It just all takes time. Once again, y'all, don't slide in my sis DMs. That's other problem you don't want. Now
there's a link in my bio.
It's a link to her bio. There's a link in her bio. She is a business. Treat her like a business. Now, we touched on publicity, and you were talking about like how people are always looking for good publicity. Now, is all publicity good publicity?
I don't think so. I don't believe in that because it could go left real quick. Like, things can go left real quick when it comes to PR. Like H&M and the monkey scenario. I'm sure that they had good intent, and I'm sure that they didn't even, because, okay, let's play devil's advocate, right? I don't know where H&M's headquarters are. Right. Let's say that they're not in America. And even if you think about, like, Louis Vuitton and all of those other places, all those other high-end places, they don't know, unfortunately, they don't know the cultural sensitivity that comes sometimes. So I think their teams are just throwing stuff out there and not really researching. And that is ill-fated on their part. But it comes with the publicity piece and the social media piece. So, and that can be, that can hurt you because H&M is still trying to recover. I don't know the last time anyone has said, let me go to H&M. I don't even think. Yeah, but they have low-key. Low-key, people still shopping there. But I just feel like it's still gonna take them a long time to recover. I'm sure they're not, making the same amount of money as they were before.
Nah, they definitely not making the same amount of money as they were before. Like, I feel like when we was at Lincoln and even just like middle school, high school, like they was winning. Like H&M was winning very big, but nowadays you don't hear about them at all.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That was replaced.
Yeah. So they had a piece of bad publicity, and you don't want that at all. So no, all publicity is not good publicity, because they had bad publicity and they were unable to recover.
And they were not able to recover. She said, but the wild thing is you hire a PR team. That's true. So you do hire a PR team to know that stuff, like for H&M and for Fendi or anyone like that. So is that the PR team's fault for not knowing that it was a bad move to put a monkey on a shirt?
I think it's a few people's fault, but PR should have had a strong pull in that. But again, and I'm not making an excuse for a brand like that, because they can cut me a check too if they want. But I will say that, remember, brands like that are overseas brands, and they might not know the cultural sensitivity when it comes to here. Now, granted, someone should have known. But I do think that, I don't want to say we can't fault them, because we definitely should. But yeah, I do think that we need to think from that lens as well.
Okay. True indeed. Well, we got 1 minute left. Any last words you want to say to the people before we go?
No, definitely follow me on social media. I follow back, I respond, I engage, I do all of that good stuff. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your amazing questions. Fiona, thank you for coming through and dropping the other PR gems. Check my book out, Can't Knock the Hustle. I also have a class for aspiring publicists called So You Want to Be a Publicist. Mm-hmm. That's also in my bio as well. I'll be dropping Pitch Please in the next few days. And Kofi, thank you. Like, I appreciate you, bro. Like, keep doing what you're doing. I got you however I can support. All of my PR friends who are on this live, go follow Kofi, because he's amazing. Yes, don't say little old me. Big old Kofi. Kofi is the man. But follow him, pour into him. Don't just reach out to him because you got a pitch, though. Like, build a rapport with my bro, like, period.
Nah, I appreciate that. Once again, thank you for having on. I can't say enough. I can't say thank you enough how many gems you dropped on the people today. We don't know just about how to be a publicist, but we know how to navigate the entertainment industry, and that it just takes time. It takes time to grow. It takes time to glow, and don't expect to blow up in 2 days, and don't hit her up after 5 p.m. So I want to just thank you again. I just want to say thank you for that, and continue to stay blessed, and that's it. All love.
I appreciate you, bro. So much love. Thank you so much.